Hello and welcome to Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot Challenge, day 23. The tarot deck I had to break up with. I have two decks for this prompt. One is the Angel Tarot by Doreen Virtue. This I already showed and mentioned a couple of times. This deck was my first deck, and honestly it was not a great choice for a first deck. I think this deck is not really suited for a beginner. The reason why I had to break up with, besides not being able to read with, is there are just some depictions that are hideous, especially the male depictions are just absolutely ridiculous and horrid and drag queeny, really bad depictions. And also there are many cards where the visuals don't really represent what the card is about, so it made very difficult to read with this deck. And even though I kept the deck, I modified it, I trimmed it down all the way to the images and the title sentences, and I just use it as an oracle. Typically when I read for others, I don't use this at all for myself, but when I read for others, this is something that sometimes I pull out and use. And the other deck I had to break up with was another of my early deck acquisitions, and it was the Art Nouveau Tarot. And even I just printed out this paper because I no longer have that deck. I traded it, and I printed out this paper just to show you what my problems were. First of all, I would like to say that even though I did not like the majority of that deck, I adore the death card. This death card is one of the most beautiful death cards that I have ever seen in a deck. So if I could have that one card only, I would be very happy. But the rest of the deck, again, the depictions don't really express what the card meaning is. Most of them are just people standing, and that don't really represent the meaning or the essence of that card. And you would have to read this based on maybe numerology and suit. The real problem that I had with this deck are with the kings in the courts and the strength card. The strength card is my card, as a Leo is my card, and I just really dislike this depiction with this forceful kind of breaking that the animal self in half and just being brutal. So here you can see how he is being very forceful and brutal with that animal self, with the Minotaur, and I just really dislike. This is not how I see strength card, and this is not how I see strength, and this depiction of the strength card was just really something that I could not get on board with. And the other two cards that I really dislike are the kings. All the kings in this deck are depicted with these meek women being subservient to them, and especially for the King of Pentacles, you can see that he's kind of forcing the woman, and the woman would like to get away or is trying to get away. I don't think this depiction is nice in any way. It just evokes thoughts and ideas that I really would prefer not to associate with the King of Pentacles. I think this deck failed in their king representation, so I just dislike these cards so much, and I found reading with this deck very difficult. So when someone offered me a deck which I love, the Dreaming Way Tarot, and she mentioned that she likes the Art Nouveau, she would like to get the Art Nouveau deck, I immediately sent it to her if someone can read with these cards and the associations don't come to their mind the way they do to me, I think that's absolutely fine. That's something that our differences can work for us in this regard. I understand that these takes on these cards are just my personal takes, so if anybody else finds this deck very useful and beautiful and readable, then by no means do I want to discourage anyone from getting this deck. These were just my thoughts and my initial reactions whenever I saw these cards. I felt uncomfortable, I felt disturbed in a sense, so I just really did not like to look at these depictions whenever I could not see the positive aspect of these cards. All I could see were the negative aspects, so that's why I decided to break up with this deck. Both of these decks I got at the beginning of my tarot journey, so then I wasn't aware of the many styles and artworks and what I should be looking for in a deck. So that's the reason why I didn't choose the way I would choose a tarot deck now. Since the time when I had these decks, I am much more selective of what I buy, and I research the decks much more. So when I get them, I already know whether they would read well for me and whether I'm drawn to the artwork. And since then, I haven't really had a deck that I felt I couldn't work with or I had to break up with. So this was my response for day 23 of Ethony 31 Days of Tarot Challenge. Thank you again for visiting me and watching this video, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.